Hello everyone, Gaitsu Lore here. Today is the first vlog that I'll be doing. I want to give you all an idea of who I am, while also updating you about things I'll be doing, both for my channel and also to slow me down on content. That said, I have to immediately explain that I won't be putting up any new gaming videos next week. I am participating in a promotion with VizEd. I'll be recording videos and sending them to the staff of VizEd, and they will decide if they want to put up those videos on their channel. And I only need to send them about 20 hours of footage, but I'm planning on sending them a full playthrough of Tomba. Now, Tomba is a PlayStation 1 game. Uh, should be about 30 to 40 hours of content, hopefully, if nothing goes wrong. That's depending on if I try to do all of the quests in game, if I collect all of the items, and if I do all of the mini games. Now, if I just do the main game, it shouldn't be that long, but where's the fun in that? Now, who am I? Yeah, I'm obviously a Let's Player on YouTube. I'm obviously a gamer. But what's beneath that? What supports that? Most of those topics are for other vlogs later. For now, I want you to know why I'm here right now and who I was in the past and up to now. I was born on May 14th, 1990. I did a lot of jumping around from one school to another, all the way up until high school. I was in the same high school all 4 years. I had very few friends leading up to high school, and I was bullied a lot. Now, for pretty obvious reasons, I'm a big guy. I'm big. I'm a fatty, but it still doesn't seem like a reason for kids to pick on other kids. My mom tried helping me with the bullying back when it was happening by talking to the teachers, talking to the other kids' parents, and even talking to my different principals. But none of that fixed the problems. Uh, I didn't really get any good friends until middle school. Now, I went through 4 years elementary school, 5 years of middle school, and I didn't really get a good friend until my second year of middle school. So that was 5 years of only having a couple of friends who were okay. So they weren't all that nice to me, but I still liked having them around, and I still like having them around. But, anyways, I didn't really get very many friends until middle school. The second year of middle school, moving on, I was actually the center of attention for some good reasons and some not so good reasons. Um, I was in the top two in my middle school for knowing the definitions of different vocabulary words. Um, and some of the bad things I may talk about in other vlogs. For right now, we're going to keep going to save up on some time. Uh, Aside from all of the friends that I was having and all of the attention I was getting, middle school was the first time that I really fell in love. And I'm not talking about the I like you, you like me kind of love. I'm talking I like you and you could might as well not even know I exist because you're only pretending to be my friend. And I'm not just saying that so that you'll feel for me. I'm being serious. I moved, and shortly after moving, I gained the confidence to actually tell this person how I'd felt. Because we'd been friends throughout middle school. She was even really the reason why I flunked back, was because she was afraid she was going to flunk back, and I didn't want her to be alone. She ended up not flunking, and I looked like an idiot. But when I got a hold of her and I was about to tell her how I felt, she told me that we had never been friends and that I was really just a fat piece of. Yeah. It was the first time I had ever decided to tell someone how I felt, and it turned out horribly. Luckily, I had friends to pick me up and put me back together. The first person I ever considered to be a true friend was in my life at that time. He and I did everything together, or at least everything I did, he was around. He was my best friend for 2.5 years, and then, out of nowhere, he moved. I mean, I'd moved time and time again, but this was the first time I'd have somebody else who was important to me move out of my life. And it left a huge hole in me. Shortly before that, had some good things happen, which were also bad, but important for the later progress of my life. I was pulled into my first relationship, my first ever girlfriend. We ate together every day. We went to one school dance, and I didn't dance. I refused to dance, and she ended up moving, and we decided that that was a good time to end our relationship. Uh, but through progress of emails and things like that, we ended up back together, and later we went to college together. Now, understand that college was never important to me. Never. I only went because she went. I went because she was all I knew. She was all I knew, and at the time it was the only thing I had to really push my life forward. At the time, she was my fiance. I met more friends, which was great, but it was in the middle of another really hard time for me. After the first hard time, my life just kept getting harder and harder and harder for me. And it was hard to know what to do every single day. But my friend who had moved from high school out of my life had come back in my life. We were talking through emails, chat rooms, eventually through text messages and phone calls. And I found out that he and my former girlfriend were engaging in phone sex. And that was just the start of a huge train wreck of crap that rushed me that year. Uh, After a while, the phone sex wasn't enough for her. She started going to parties, and she started to sleep around. And after I confronted her, she ended up cutting herself, and I didn't know what to do. So I ended up staying with her, even though I knew things were not going to get better. And about half a year after we left college, she left me for someone else who we had known in college. Um, it was really hard for me. When you have something that is literally your only reason for doing things, and it just stops, it's hard to know what to do with yourself. So for the next year, I was understandably a mess. I was living with my aunt when all of this happened, and after that, I stopped looking for a job. I stopped putting any effort into anything. I was simply in the room playing games, not even really getting up to take showers. I'd get up and eat, go to the bathroom once or twice a day, and then go right back into my room and just lock myself away. Well, that eventually became a problem, and I was kicked out of my aunt's home. I moved back in with my mother, and that didn't last. I still couldn't deal with her rules, her how she ran things. And through anger and everything else, I ended up ruining shots there and was kicked out there as well. And I moved in with my grandmother, and it was pretty much just the same cycle repeating over and over and over again. And it was almost to the point where even my grandma was about to say that I couldn't stay there. But then my mother came in with a really, really good idea. A really good one. She decided to tell me about a place called Job Corp. Now, for those of you who don't know what Job Corp is, it's a government-funded school where you can learn a trade if you're under the age of 25. At least that's what their little brochures say. They give you a whole range of different things that you can go there and learn. But the reality of what Job Corps is a little bit different from the ideal. Job Corps is where a lot of bad kids are sent. Anywhere from the age of 16 to 19 to even up to 23 and 24-year-olds who are still living with their parents. That's not why I went. I actually went to try and learn a skill so that I could get a job. And there are people there who do go there for that reason. But through the course of being there, the everyday schedule of being treated like you're a horrible, horrible person is bound to turn a lot of good people bad. But don't get me wrong. A lot of good came to me through Job Corps. Yes, I just said a lot of people end up going bad there. A lot of people are there because they have no other options, because their only other option is boot camp. But you can find light in the darkest of areas. Another one of my friends who I had made in college had decided to go to Job Corps as well. He wasn't forced into it. He went because he knew what he wanted to do, and Job Corps was a way for him to get it. Through there, we both found others a lot like ourselves, and we were able to make kind of a protective barrier from all of the bad that was happening around us. And we moved on. We got through there pretty much all intact. I mean, as each person left, we cracked the barrier a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. But for the most part, things got better. I even started up a relationship while I was there. Not with anyone there. No. I did, but that person was a little bit stalkerish, and that didn't last. But I started with my now wife, actually. She and I had also met in college, and it was kind of like the story with the other girl who I talked to, who I'd first fallen in love with. And this time it was accepted. It was accepted, and we started our relationship. I got out of Job Corps, almost immediately got a job, and 3 or 4 months after that, I left that job because we moved to Oregon, Idaho. Now, I say Oregon and Idaho because we were right in the middle of the two. Uh, but my inexperience and everything like that caused me to blow a big opportunity. I had a completely fresh start and I ruined it within a couple of months. I was working at a factory that produces onion rings, and I ended up leaving it in the middle of a shift, and from then on, pretty much no legitimate job would hire me. I struggled going from one nowhere job to another, and eventually I got hired on with a trucking agency. I won't say which trucking agency because they gave me some bad loads, and because they were bad loads and I didn't know what to do with them, they ended up firing me, and I got stuck back here in Kansas. My wife is here with me, of course. Still hopeful, I ended up getting on with a temporary agency, and I worked with them until I obtained a job at another fast food place. And then later, when my wife's parents came back to Kansas, her father helped me get a job where I'm working now, which is a tool factory. And I've been there for almost 2 years now. But last year, on February 6th, 2015, my son was born. And it changed everything for me. I still have my wife, and she's still a big part of why I get up in the morning. But my son quickly crashed the big blimp that was my childhood. Now, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. Because before he was born, I was about to quit my job at the tool factory because I just couldn't see myself staying there for what it is. It's literally a tool factory. You make tools. There's not much going up in the ranks. But when he was born, it changed my ideals. It changed how I perceived day-to-day life. I wasn't just trying to run from one day to the next to see how much I could save up for the next week's video games. I was looking at, I have now a wife, a child, I have rent, I have utilities that I have to pay, I have to get a car, I have now medical bills and everything else. And that quickly made me grow up. Now, I've been growing up the entire time, but my son being born really pushed that growth. And as you can see, I'm still here playing video games. But my habits for gaming have changed because he has become more important to me than my gaming. Yes, my gaming helps me get out of the world every now and then, but he's very quick to bring me back to it when it's time to come back. And this has been a very indirect look at my life. And I know that we've been jumping around for a little bit. Some of that was a little, this happened, then this happened before, and then this happened later after this thing, then I understand that it was a little bit confusing. I understand that not a lot of questions have been answered. There are still things that I need to explain, like why I play games, what influenced me to even pick up a controller in the first place, and what even gave me the courage to start YouTubing. Those, like I said before, are topics for other vlogs. I will be talking about them later. Thank you all for watching. I hope this has given you an idea of who I am. Hopefully it's made you curious to learn more so that you'll come back and check out more vlogs. I'm Gaitsu Lore. Have a great day. Bye, guys.